Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the streams of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, round number 3 of the Downforce Legends Okayama International Circuit. As you can see on stream at the moment, looking forward to this one. It is a double header tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We will go to the GT4s later tonight at Road Atlanta, but first and foremost, we've got a score to settle, and the drivers have a score to settle here around Okayama in the Downforce Legends. Of course, my name's Aiden Schultz. Joining me in the booth, as always, is Daniel Kuriasar. Good evening to you, Daniel, as the drivers are about 2 minutes left in the qualifying.
Hey mate, how's it going? I'm glad to be here at Okayama. Downforce Legends always gives us some pretty good racing, and at a circuit like this with cars like the Radical, we should be in for a fantastic night.
Yeah, well, if Long Beach was anything to go by, we're in for a great night tonight, but we'll go through the track details as you can see there in front of you. So full course configuration tonight, track length 3.65 kilometers. Country is Japan, Okayama, Japan. Temperature tonight is 26 degrees Celsius and altitude of 266 meters. Of course, myself in the booth, along with the man, Daniel Kuriasar, producing, giving you all these amazing pictures on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Looking forward to this one tonight. We're currently 8 minutes 47 into the 10-minute qualifying session, and we will go through and bring up the tower where your favourite drivers are as we're about to move into what will be race number 1 tonight. So Richard Mayer, or John Merritt, just straight to the top, if you don't mind there, Daniel, as we segued into that. John Merritt up the top, 122.664, 122.751 Guy Leach, Richard Mayer third, Adam Maverick fourth, and Aiden Schwerker there in the 5th position. If you have a look at those times, they're definitely close at the front, so we're looking forward to a great battle tonight here in the Radicals.
Yeah, most definitely. 22.6. What a fast lap there from John Merritt. I mean, it's in his namesake, right? John Hard Lap Merritt. So we'll see if he can use that momentum in the first race and try to come out with a victory. Guy Leach, close. 22.7. Only about a 10th or so. Just under a 10th, actually. Richard Mayer with a 122.758. And Adam Lavis, 122.989 there for P4. And as you said, Aiden Schweikart, a 123.016. He'll be in the 5th position on the track there, as we just see everybody waiting for the grid. And as the results pan in, we'll be able to cut over. So here is your grid for the first race.
And we'll go through your starting grid here for round number 3 of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club Downforce Legends in the Radicals. It will be John Merritt off your pole with Guy Leach out of P2. At 3 and 4 will be Richard Mayer and Adam Lavers or Maverick, whichever way you want to put it. Aiden Schwerkart and Gosner out of the 5 and 6. Tony Baker and Scotty Rankin out of the 7 and 8th position. Paul Wood and Stuart Ellis will round out your 10 tonight. In 11th position, Nick Fodiitis and David Christensen out of 12. Matt Schmidtke, Rees, Baldwin, Butler, Henderson, Tice, King and Warren Ibbett will round out your 20. Going across the page, 21st tonight will be Philip Howe. Adam Johnson will be looking to make some moves forward in the 22nd position. Joshua Robertson in 23rd. And Brett Campbell, my teammate actually, coming out of the 24th position. So a little bit of a late starter there by Brett, and he's on the grid, but we're about to go green very, very shortly here for round number 3 of the Radicals, the Downforce Legends, here around the famous Okayama International Circuit in Japan. Let's go racing. This is going to be great. If the qualifying is anything to go by, it is going to be nuts, if I could say that in any particular way there, Daniel, but it's going to be crazy. So we're about to go green flag racing. We'll see how we go. Big shout out to all the sponsors, Login Systems, Player One Sim Gear, Orbic, Australia, everyone involved in the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. We're about to go green flag racing. You can see the lights coming up. It will be John Merritt and Guy Leach off the front row as we go green flag for the first time tonight down in turn number 1 at Okayama, and they seem to have got away pretty well so far compared to what we saw at Long Beach as they make their way through turn number 1 and turn number 2 tonight, mate. So Daniel, Sean Rees on board at the moment in the 11. Oh, there we go. Commentator's curse. There we go. Straight
Oh,
up.
I think that's John Wilson that's been hit there, and Matt Schmidtke. Schmidtke off to the side of the track. So that was a big hit. It's an unfortunate one there. I think someone may have lost some traction, and unfortunately wasn't able to get out of the way. We'll try and get a confirmation on that one here. So here's John Baldwin coming around the corner. Looks like Schmidtke's off to the right side of the track. There he is. Yep, and he's unable to... Well, he missed all the cars, but unfortunately he didn't miss the wall. So that's a big hit for there, but I think Schmidtke's the one that's got serious damage. You can see it just on the side of the car. So both of them will have to come in. They do have a fast repair to their name, which will lessen the hurt a little bit. But in either case, they will drop back to the tail end of the grid.
Yeah, unfortunately there for those drivers, but Sean Rees on board at the moment, up in the 11th position, now up to Scotty Rankin. Oh, he makes a big mistake through the final two turns of this, and turns of the track rather, and Stuart Ellis is going to make that position on him. So Scotty Rankin, he's been up there in this championship, and he's in for a fight to be able to contend early on in this championship. So he's going to want to make his way back up through, as Ellis just got a little bit wide there through turn number 1. They make their way through Williams now, and they'll go through the Moss S's and down into the old Atwood curve. Will Scott Rankin make a move? No, he won't. He's just relaxing there at the moment in that position. So Scotty Rankin, though, he's had a good start to the season, mate. He's had some solid results. He's had some unlucky results as well. Always there or thereabouts. He'll be wanting to probably get a good, solid, decent amount of points tonight, mate.
Yeah, but in order to do, as we see Ellis just locking up in the corner there, that's going to allow... Interesting. Actually, I thought Scott Rankin would just go past, but it seems as though he let him back by. Really putting the gentleman into the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. As we see a race control message there. Incident on lap 1 with cars 96 and 37. So 96 being Philip Howe, 37 being Schmidtke, no, Adam Tice, my mistake. So that is currently under investigation there. Yeah, just going back there, I see Scott Rankin looking to get some points. What he'll have to do, though, is keep that car nice and straight. We can see that in some of the corners he's been getting a little tail happy. So not sure if that's gone down to cold tyres or if he's just trying to drive a little bit more aggressively. He'll also be under pressure from Paul Wood in just a moment. But if he can get that nice and straight, then he should be able to get on for a decent result.
Yeah, most definitely, mate. And I did a couple of laps here, even though I'm not to the level of these guys, but I did a couple of laps here earlier, ghosting, and you hit the nail on the head. You can brake really hard in these cars, but very loose on exit. Track temp is not so high, but track condition is not the best. And you can see here, well, that car, Phil King, on board at the moment, didn't really get snap oversteer on exit, but very tricky at the moment. But it is Merritt, Leach, Mayer and Grodzner, your top 4. Phil King on board with now, down into the heavy braking zone rather, which is hairpin corner. A lot happening very quick in these cars, mate. It's a lot to deal with, and especially around a track which is pretty much high attention to detail. There's a lot to deal with, and the guys are doing good so far. 4 minutes into 15, so we're nearly quarter of the way through already. It always happens so quick. And Phil King currently, if I have a look, up a couple of positions, I believe, up 5 positions. So starting out of the 19th position, up into the 14th. So Phil King doing a great job. He's got Warren Ibbott right in behind him as they make their way down the straight for the 4th time of asking. So they're doing a great job tonight, and these Downforce legends definitely do not disappoint. I love them. But John Merritt leading the way. He's got a good interval if we go back to him and give him a bit of love. He's got a good interval, 1.8 seconds in the lead over Leach, Mayer and Grodzner as we go across to John Merritt there. So Merritt's doing a great job. You can see the lead he's got early in this one, Daniel. He is showing a clean set of heels at the front. 2 seconds the lead. And Richard Mayer and Gosner, they're in 3rd and 4th. They've got a nice little battle, but 10 minutes left, mates. He's pretty much going to be sitting clear and comfy at the front.
Yeah, set the fastest lap last time by, 123.5 for the race. And so John seems like nothing's going to crack him at the moment. Nice and calm, collected. And yes, as you said, with a 1.9 second gap now, not really under threat from anyone. There's only a couple of battles happening on track at the moment. You can see one there with Adam Lavis and Warren Ibbott for P15 as John Merritt sets the fastest lap again, 123.070. He's showing no signs of slowing down in that radical.
I wouldn't mind going and having a look at a little battle between Rhys Gosner and Aiden Schwerk out there. The battle for 4th and 5th in the race is definitely heating up. I saw it on my live timing that it's down to about 0.4, 0.3 of a second. You can see it now dropping on your screen. So Aiden Schwerker, he's had a good night in the office the last couple of nights. He didn't have a good night last week in the radicals, although he was fast. So he'll be hoping for a good one tonight. So he's right up in the behind of Rhys Gosner at the moment. And don't be surprised we see him try and get this position. But mate, radicals around this track, amazing, and it's been great so far. Obviously a big shout out to all the sponsors, Lobesy Racing, Flash Graphics, M-Wave, Waste Options, Orbic Australia, everyone involved in the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Without you guys, we do not go racing and we cannot show you these broadcasts. So a big shout out to you guys. But Aiden with a big moment there. When we go to Matt Schmidtke,
those two are actually, those two are actually involved in that first one. So Schmidtke was off to the right-hand side of the track. John Baldwin trying to avoid everything going into the left. And with that move there, Schmidtke just went a little too hard into the corner. We'll go back for the replay. And as you can see, it starts corner before, round the outside, and then he goes into, and John just tries to take that racing line. They both come together. Schmidtke, the second best out of that. He gets turned around. John manages to move forward, but it'll be interesting to see what Race Control have to say about that one.
Yeah, no doubt. We do have Race Control in the booth at the moment. Josh isn't here, but he's probably got his eyes full at the moment and pretty busy, so he'll chime in and have a chat whenever he's available. But we're on board with Warren Ibbott at the moment. He's in the 16th position, so he's currently chasing down Phil King in front of him. So this is a battle for 16th and 15th on the racetrack here, and we are nearly 8 minutes into 15 already. So Phil King, Warren Ibbott rather, with the big run of Phil King in that amazing Rothman.
Oh, he taps him on the back.
Right, nearly gave him a tap down into the hairpin. He decides better of it and doesn't get the job done. But now that's allowed Tony Baker, etc., to get involved in this as well. So Baker and Baldwin in the background. So this 4-car battle for 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th on the racetrack is definitely heating up.
Yeah, that was a weird move there from Warren Ibbott. He pushed. He was obviously trying to use the drive, going down to the hairpin, trying to shoot up onto the inside and make the pass. But he actually collided with the back of Phil King there, bending slightly the rear bumper there. You might be able to see it on one of the shots. Butler tries to go on the inside, nice and cleanly actually.
But we're going to go 3 wide into turn 1 here now, I'd suggest, Daniel. Almost 3 wide. They're thinking better of it, but they make their way through there as Baker makes his way up the inside of Ibbott. So Ibbott's the loser in that little battle. As we go back to the replay, on board with Philip Butler through the final 2 turns.
Just watch this, shoots right on the inside. That's a fantastic move. I can't believe how clean that was. Yeah. Wow, that was so clean.
He's my teammate, so I should give him a little bit of kudos here in the broadcast booth, but that was a great move. But this battle is definitely something to look out for as Baker make contact into the braking zone, down into the hairpin. They get that job done cleanly as well. Drive through for Philip Howe, wrecking with car 99. Nick Fodiatis on that 5 that was a car off into the gather. Oh, Butler.
Yep.
Bill Butler, commentator's curse again, unfortunately has made a little bit of a mistake there. But, mate, that was a good little battle while it lasted.
It was unfortunate for him. It looks like he just had some traction loss coming out of that previous corner. Warren Ibbott trying to go up on the inside of Phil King. Didn't quite work. Phil will maintain P16 for now. But through all of that, Tony Baker has gone away with it. 2.7 seconds down the road for him. So the fight between 4 cars has now turned into 2, with Orbic trying to chase down Phil King for P16. Another on-track fight here as we switch over to it, which is Aiden Schweikart here chasing down Reese Gosner. But then there's also Stuart Ellis, who's in for a position as well. So Schweikart looking for the drive, decides to pull out. And it looks like Reese Gosner's just going to let them both by. I wonder if he's got damage or if he thought he probably couldn't fight that at all. But in any case...
that was interesting. That was interesting. Sorry to cut you off there, mate. That was interesting by Reese Gosner to just let them pass like that. So did he have a slowdown? Did he have a penalty he may have to serve? We haven't seen that come up through race control. So interesting there, but Aiden Schweikart, his eyes would have lit up and been, thank you, I'm going to go up into P number 4. So Warren Ibbott here back into 16th as well, and he's got the battle with Phil King. So, yeah, don't know what happened there, mate, but no doubt we'll find out when we talk to these boys later. But we're now nearly 12 minutes into the 15-minute race, of race number 1 here, round number 3 of the Downforce legends, the Radicals, at Okayama, and it's been a great race so far. Merritt Leach, Mayer, Schwerkart and Ellis, year 5, on board with Nick Fodiitis. He's currently battling for the 22nd position. He's had a tough night so far, Daniel, and he's just going to try and make his way up through the field and try and get some points getting into race 2.
Yeah, involved in a couple of incidents early on, down 11 positions from his initial starting position on the grid there. It's a rough one there, P22 at the moment. Managed to make the move on Philip Howe to get that position back. And he's now putting that time in, already extended to a 2-second lead. Just looking at the front of the grid as well, John Merritt still in the lead of this race, almost at a 3-second gap, so it doesn't look like Guy Leach should be able to catch him in the next 3 minutes unless John puts a foot wrong, but he hasn't done one yet, so I don't expect him to do one to the end of this race. Sagassa and Reese trade places. Sagassa now up into the top 10. And the only other close battle on track is Matt Schmidtke chasing down John Baldwin. A little bit of history happening in this race between those two. That's for P18.
Tell me about the history there, Daniel. Mate, I'm obviously new to the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club and new on the broadcasting. I want to know about the history here between those two drivers.
No, I don't think they've had any history prior to this race, but now 3 times those two have come together this race alone. So this is probably the origin story of a rich issue that's about to happen.
We're starting the story now, aren't we? So we'll keep this one on file. So in 2 years' time, when they're battling again, we can bring that up. But on board now with Matt Schmidtke, and this is the battle we're talking about. So these guys have every time I talk about a driver, they spin around. But these two drivers have been having a great race tonight and been involved in everything. But Matt Schmidtke now gains a position, albeit with the detriment of the other driver onto the main straight. So 13.5 minutes, only 2 laps to go now, mate. Obviously, Merritt, Leach, Mayer, Schwerker and Ellis, year 5. It looks like Merritt's got this one completely sewed up as we go to Tony Baker in 15th position, having a good little battle here with Joshua Robertson in front of him. So Tony Baker's trying to make the move down into the hairpin here. He's going to get the job done. Looks like he does. So Tony Baker now making his way up into the 14th position.
Good move. The hairpin is one of the strong overtaking opportunities because of the massive draft you get on the back straight. That was actually something that Jody Baldwin, watching at home, mentioned, saying that the fantastic venue for the Radical, long back straight with draft, a great infield section. So absolutely on the money there. Okayama, a great... Okayama is usually a really good track for what you would say like a beginner series. So things like MX-5s, Formula Vs, Formula Fords. But even with high downforce cars, if you get too fast, you start to get too low of a lap time and it can be really, really difficult. But with that back straight, I think the Radical's a perfect choice here because you can see some really good fighting between these drivers as Tony Baker just goes away with it now. So he's almost a second down the road. Only close battle on track right now. Scott Rankin, P6, chasing down Aiden Schweikart. Down to the hairpin, as we said. Reese Gosner looks to go on the inside there. I don't think that is a lapped car, though. So that's not a problem.
Yeah, Scotty Rankin doing a great job here. He's making his way. Oh, big dive down the inside. Aiden's very gentleman-like there, opening the door, but Scott couldn't get the job done there. So Scott will have to reset and try and see whether he's got anything for Schwerkert as they make their way into the final lap of this race. So they are in the final lap now. So Scott Rankin Is he going to have a dive? He has a look. Aiden's wiser for it, and they make their way out of the final 2 turns, and they'll come across the line. I believe it's going to be checkered flag this time, which it will. So Aiden Schwerker will hold on to that position and get a top 5 over Scott Rankin here for round number 3 of the Radicals, the Downforce Legends here on the stream for the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. How good was that, mate? That went really quick. We will let everyone know where all your favourite drivers came, but mate, that went really quick. What a great race.
Yep, 15 minutes done and dusted. John Merritt showing an exemplary form. 3.86 seconds to the finish there in the lead of everyone else. Guy Leach with a 1.1 second gap to the car behind him as well. And Scott Rankin just losing out at the end to Aiden, 4P5. And we'll just wait for the back end of the grid to cross the line. So a decent start, but let's not forget that is sprint race 1. We still have a second one to go, which will have pit stops involved. And with this, with the added strategy, we might see some mix-up in the results.
100%, mate. We're going to see a lot of different results here for race number 2. And of course, stay with us here on the streams of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, because we will bring you the GT4s later from Road Atlanta. But we've got one more race tonight here for the Downforce Legends. But before we do that, we'll bring you through who came in the positions for the sprint race. And it was John Merritt and Guy Leach, Richard Mayer, your 3 for your sprint race round number 3 at Okayama. Reese Gosner in 4th, Aiden Schwerker, Scott Rankin, Paul Wood, Stuart Ellis, and David Christensen and Braden Sagasa rounding out your 10. Sean Rees in 11th, Henderson, Adam Maverick, Tony Baker, Joshua Robinson, Warren Ibbett, Phil King, Matt Schmidtke, John Baldwin, and Adam Jodson rounding out your 20. Nick Fodiatis in 21st tonight in race number 1, Brett Campbell in 22nd, Phil Butler 23rd, Philip Howe, Adam Tice, and Grant Gill, your 26th place getters for what was the sprint race. We're about to go through to the feature race tonight. The boys are about to grid up very, very shortly. They'll have a little warm-up session here, and they'll grid up very shortly, and we're about to go feature racing in the Radicals. But a big shout out, of course, to the sponsors. We need to keep doing it. Lobesy Racing, Flash Graphics, M-Wave, Waste Options, Orbic Australia, everyone that makes it possible. Daniel, mate, we got a long night in the office, but if that was anything to go by, I'm excited for what we've got to see in the next couple of races.
Yeah, this should be a good final race here for the Radicals tonight. As you said, there's I believe it's a 3-minute warm-up session for these guys before the next race kicks off. So we'll just wait on board till they grid up. But it'll be a reverse top 10. So as soon as those results, that becomes available, I'll chuck that up on screen for everyone at home. So that should shake things up. That'll mean John Merritt will start in P10, and I can't remember who it was that finished P10.
That's a very
Braden Sagasa, maybe.
Yeah, roundabout Braden Sagasa, I believe, maybe.
Yep, Sagasa will start on pole.
Yeah,
with that one.
And don't be surprised if he uses that and makes his way forward and has a strong chance to actually win this one, because he's very quick, the 1.9 MX Raps Racing driver. Here we go. Here's your grid for the feature race. Braden Sagasa and David Christensen will take your front row. Stuart Ellis and Paul Wood will be off 3 and 4. Rankin and Aiden Schwerker 5 and 6. They'll resume their battle off the start of this one. Reese Gosner, Richard Mayer, Guy Leach, and John Merritt, your top 10. Out of 11th, Rees, Henderson out of 12, Maverick and Baker 13 and 14, Joshua Robertson out of 15, Warren Ibbett 16, King, Schmidtke, Baldwin, and Johnson, your 20, as we go across the page. Into 21st is Nick Fodiatis, Brett Campbell, Philip Butler, and Philip Howe, your 24. We're going feature race racing here in the Radicals, round number 3 at Okayama. It will be Sagasa and Christensen off the front row. We're about to go racing. We'll wait for the lights to come up very, very shortly, and they're up, and we're going racing. You can hear the revs rising. Here we go, round number 3, race number 2, Okayama in the Radicals, and we're off, and Sagas has got a great jump off the start there down into turn number 1.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad start from him. It looks like he'll have a decent lead going into turn number 3. Side by side here between Ellis and Christensen. Looks like Ellis gets the best of him there. A decent launch from everyone. I can see 2 cars in pit lane, so they must have started from pit lane. But no incidents, so I call that a win.
You've now just put the commentator's curse on it, but we'll see as we're going 3 wide into the hairpin. That is the hairpin curve. Down the inside now, David Christensen had a little bit of a sneaky look there on the inside. Thought better of it and go back to Schwerker. He's going to try and make his way back through the field. So he started out of... He actually had a bad start, I believe, because he finished 5th in the first one. He's back to 9th. So he's had a little bit of an unfortunate start. So he's going to want to make his way through a little bit further in this field, and that's Adam Lavers, or Adam Maverick, whichever way you want to say it, in behind him, and he's given a little bit of a hustle up, but we're about to make their way through lap number 1, and as we said, we do have a pit stop tonight as well, so in this second race there is a pit stop to deal with, but at the moment Braden Sagas has extended his legs at the front of this one. He's utilising that opportunity to start from pole. He got that job done and making his way forward. But Stuart Ellis, Paul Wood and Richard Mayer, the guys we saw that were quick early in the first one have definitely made their way up to the front. But John Merritt here in 11th position, he's right behind Adam Maverick. So this is the battle for the top 10. How close is this, mate? You can see up to 3rd in your mirror.
Oh, that's a big hit.
The car off into the outside wall.
And that looks like it's Sean Rees. That's dropped all the way back there. We'll try and have a look later on as to what happened in that particular incident. And, whoa, down the inside goes Schweikart. What a late lunge. He's managed to do it without contact.
I'm not sure there wasn't contact there, mate, but it was definitely a late lunge, and he sent it down the inside. So he got that job done. We're going to see the same again now by John Merritt. He just goes, I'm going left, I'm going down the inside.
Yeah, but Laver's on the inside.
Like now, he's like, I don't want to borrow that. You can stay behind me for another couple of corners, mate. As they make their way through the final 2 turns, and Merritt's going to get the job done, or Lavers is going to hold it on the outside, and they're going to continue this battle down into turn number 1 and 2, mate.
There we go, Lavers just getting ahead there at the start line. But then again, John Merritt goes down deep into the brakes into turn 1. He goes a bit wide, tries to carry the speed. Lavers does fall short, so he will have to fall in line, and that's going to allow Merritt to jump up into P8. And what a great procession there. Nice, respecting racing. Nobody got too bumpy. But unfortunately, Lavers does come out second best. And while we have a break in that, let's just go and try and ascertain what happened to Sean Rees previously. We do see that race control is giving a 10-second penalty to Kyle Leach for contact with Scott Rankin. So here we go. Rees comes up around the corner, and he actually loses on his own. Hits the wall there. Wow, I thought someone would have taken him out, but no, he just lost it on his own. We'll go on board. Let's take a listen to the engine here. Yep. Oh, it's a big snap. So yeah, it's an unfortunate one there for Rees, but all on his own.
Yeah, unfortunate. It's so easy to do. I said that in race number 1. They can get really, really snappy on the rear, and in the practice or the ghosting that I did early on, it's exactly what I found as well. So no surprise there that he got caught out. He won't be happy with that one. But on board now with Gosnar, 6th position. He's chasing down David Christensen right in front of him at the moment. Oh, nearly into the back of him. I thought he was going to go right into the back of him. But Sagas has sort of taken off with this one, but the battles are going to be great moving on. We're only 5 minutes into what is a 25-minute race. We've still got pit lane strategy to all play out here on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club platforms and here for the Radicals. So don't tune out and stay on and have a look, because there is a lot to play down. Gosnar chasing down Christensen. It is Sagasa, Ellis, Wood and Mayer, your top 4, but have a look at those battle packs in behind. There's a lot to play out yet, mate.
So it's 5 minutes in, 4 laps. Sagasa still in the lead of this race. 8/10 is the gap. So not as much as John Merritt was doing in the previous race, but he's still holding his own. That's good to see. Paul Wood 1 second behind there in P3, but the real battle is happening here with a 4-car pack going from David Christensen down to P8, which is John Merritt. That is a yellow car just behind on your screen. Reese Gosner under pressure, but putting pressure himself. So this is what happens when you're the proverbial cream in the Oreo. You've got to be paying attention to the car in front and the car behind. Guy Leach has seen better days. The front of his car looks like a well-used skateboard ramp. But looks like he's going to try and go on the outside. Actually, Gosner's just going to let him by. So I wonder what this is. Gosner really didn't fight that at all. I wonder if he's maybe just, for this race, deciding to just lay back and let everyone else do all the fighting.
Possibly, it can be a fuel issue too, but I'm trying to go back to the proverbial cream on the Oreo, to be honest. I'm trying to go back to that. That was funny. I saw Zach on the broadcast last night. They were joking. I think Joshy put a comment, who's in with us tonight, about the bingo things and the words. That's definitely not a word to go into bingo, but definitely the proverbial cream on the Oreo. I like it, man. I like it.
Some people say meat in the sandwich. I say cream in the Oreo.
Well,
same, but different.
Same, but different. Yep, we'll roll with that. But I like it. But going on board now, we're on with John Merritt, and he's making his way forward. He's currently up 4 positions, started 10th. He's chasing down David Christensen. And this little battle is looking very, very spicy. It looks like the top 5 has sort of set themselves off into the distance at the moment. And this battle is the closest on track, although it does look like Richard Mayr's having a little bit of a look on Paul Wood, but we'll keep on board with this one at the moment and see what happens. But mate, you got to give me a little bit more on those little sayings, mate, so I can pull them out here on the broadcast. You got to give me a little bit more.
A little bit, as in more sayings?
More sayings. I've got to come
sayings.
out with weird sayings. Like, I sound weird enough already, so I might as well do it. Meat in the Oreo, or what, cream in the Oreo?
Meat in the Oreo.
Sandwich.
That's so a meat in the Oreo, also known as a German Oreo.
There's my saying, right
there. Only the Germans would think about putting meat in an Oreo.
Oh, Germans will do anything. I tell you what.
When it comes to meat, 100%. 100%. They love their meat, and it's, to be fair, like it makes sense, right? If you think about all of the 7,000 varieties of sausage that come from that country. Also Hamburg, of course. The origin of the hamburger.
You could do with a bratwurst right now.
Oh, it would be pretty good, eh? And wash it down with a stein.
Yeah. Watching some radicals around Okayama. What could be any better on a Wednesday night, mate, as we continue and get back and focus on this battle.
Whoa, Guy Leach going wide there. So I think he's starting to get the handling issue. So we're 8 minutes in, 7 laps. We're on board with Latus at the moment. So Guy Leach just going a little wide on the penultimate corner. And that might have to do with the front aero on his car being slightly damaged. And I'm just wondering when the pit window will open. I can see that Campbell has come into the pits. And there's a couple of other cars that have done so, but they did that due to damage. So I wonder if it opens from now. Maybe.
I think from my thing of running in the GSRC, because I do race every now and again. Sorry, let's put that correctly. I participate. You can do it pretty much from lap 1. You can pit from when you want. So some of the drivers are going to pit early, some are going to pit late, depending on where they think that their fuel strategy is, whether they're going to take tyres. I'd suggest that they're not going to take tyres. So some drivers would have come through pit lane early, try and get out of some of what you could call the rubbish and try and keep out of the incidents and make their way forward in the back end of the race. So that's my uneducated opinion, but we'll see how it goes as we're 9 minutes now into 25 as we go back to a replay.
Oh,
So
so
Tony
Nick,
Baker there.
yeah.
Oh,
Nick Ferdiatis
Tony
has gone
Baker.
into the back of Tony Baker, unfortunately.
Tony won't be happy about that. He had such a great start to this race and was making his way forward as Adam Lavers makes his move on Guy Leach and goes up into 7th position. So Adam making his way forward. He's got David Christensen now in front of him. Braden Sagas is still holding the head of the field at the moment, up in 1st position. He's got a 2nd on the field, or it's now gone down to nearly under half a second as we keep on board with Adam Lavers up the back straight here at Okayama. That is David Christensen in front of him. But Daniel, I wouldn't mind at some point keep one eye and readdress car 99, Nick Ferdiatis, contact rather with car 07, Tony Baker on lap 7. So he readdressed that. So no penalty there for Nick Ferdiatis. But I wouldn't mind just panning to the front of the race at the moment. 0.3 for the lead of this motor race, and it's definitely heating up. Stuart Ellis chasing down the back of the 1.9 MX Wraps of Braden Sagasa here around the final corner down the main straight. We're now about to take lap 9, 11 minutes and 25, long way to go. But Stuart Ellis has shown a lot of pace tonight, and he's showing that again here in the feature as he shows his nose down into turn number 1. He can't get the job done there. And Braden's not going to let him have this very easily at all, I would not suggest, Daniel. But Stuart Ellis shown a lot of pace so far, so we'll see whether he wants to get the job done before the pit stops.
It'll be a tough move here for Ellis because Sagas is going to 100% know where to position his car to prevent these moves. For example, going down the back straight now towards the hairpin, you can see Sagas are trying to break the toe, and he's doing it respectively too. He's doing one heavy move and then slowly going back to the racing line, which you are allowed to do. Stuart Ellis looks to the inside but doesn't have the braking capacity to be able to make that move safely. And so as long as Braden keeps that type of momentum and he places his car well in the defensive zones, then yeah, this will be hard. Stuart is going to have to think about either an undercut or an overcut. He's going to have to think about pit strategy. The top 17 are yet to pit. And it looks like Johnson and Ferdiatis in P19 and 20 also haven't pit as well. So Ellis will have to think maybe about doing this under pits, or if he knows that he can keep up with Sagas's pace, which he's doing really well so far, about 0.5 of a second behind. Looking at the lap times as they go past, that was a 1:23.67 and a 1:24.04. So they're very close there on pace. So Stuart might just decide to follow him into the pits and then maybe try and get it up further on in the race, like closer to the end of the race. But in any case, Stuart's doing a good job of attacking, and Sagas is doing a great job of defending. And just behind them, you can see on the final... Oh, Jody Bull was saying that there's no pit required. Okay,
no,
fair enough.
Right, right. Okay, interesting.
Well, in that case, it'll just be 100% to the end. So that'll mean that Stuart will have to look at making a move somewhere, or he can take another approach, which is make himself as big as possible in the mirrors of Sagasa and force Sagasa to make a mistake.
Yeah, I think that's going to be his option at the moment, because if he fights too hard, that's going to allow the likes of Richard Mayer, Paul Wood and John Merritt to range up onto the back of this battle. So he's probably going to just want to sit... Oh, there's a big dive there by Merritt. He wants to make the move into 4th. He's going to get the job done there on Paul Wood. So, as you said there, Ellis and Sagasa are at the front. Ellis is going to just want to follow and probably just follow him for a little bit and try and get the gap on these three, as you see on their screen. But Merritt's not willing to sit back. He wants to make his way forward, and now he's got Richard Mayer in front. But if these leaders, we're only 14 minutes into 25, so 10 minutes to go, as Stuart Ellis goes really wide there. If these guys get battled up in their own battle, we're going to see a 5-car battle for the lead of this motor race very, very shortly. So keep an eye on this one. Stuart Ellis is the fastest car between himself and Braden at the moment. He is quicker, but is he going to be able to utilise it? We'll see. Is Braden going to be able to cover off and handle the pressure with 10 minutes to go? Will it be Mayer, Merritt or Wood, someone that's going to be dragged into this late on in this one? We're about to find out here on the streams of the GSRC network across all your streams, Facebook and YouTube, as we go back to Adam Lavers in the 6th position. and he is holding off David Christensen there.
Yeah,
so,
he just managed to make the move on the back straight. So Davis goes from P7 to P6, and he'll be looking to try and chase down Paul Wood ahead. Unfortunately for him, it's a 4.6 second gap there. So I don't think he'll be able to join to the back of that front pack. I think we will see just the front 5. And even so, Richard Mann with a 1 second gap to Stuart Ellis. So I'm not sure if he'll be able to close that at all either.
Well, anything can happen, mate. We've seen everything happen here on the streams of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. You can visibly see the gap there between Adam Labers and Paul Wood. So anything can happen. These guys can get caught up in something. They all want to win, and we're round number 3, and this track has created great racing for the Radicals. So anything can happen as we're on board with Merritt, and Merritt got caught up in incidents as well tonight, so we see how easy it can happen. But onto the back straight we go for the 12th time of asking here for round number 3 of the Radicals or the Downforce Legends. And Merritt is going to have a look, is he not? No, he's going to think better of it, but I have a feeling there's something to come yet, mate. There's something to spice it up in the next 9 minutes.
Yeah, well, Richard Mann has dropped the gap to Stuart Ellis now between down to the 1 second mark, so it's at least 4 cars. Paul Wood there, just at the back of your screen, and he's looking to try. That was Richard Mann just getting sideways, going through that previous corner. Now he's going to try and maintain the defensive gap. John Merritt's going to look on the inside. No, he's not close enough. We'll jump into the in-car view and have a look. And I thought that might have been a prime attack point, but it looks like John Merritt got caught out by the slide, and so they will fall back into position. But that has caused Richard Mann to drop back past the 1 second mark. So Stuart Ellis is safe for now as he tries to chase down Sagasa himself with a 123.1 to that previous lap. So I believe that makes him the fastest right now. It does.
Yeah, fastest last time. Took 0.3 of a second out of your leader, Braden Sagasa. So he's trying to range up onto the back of him at the moment as well. But this is the closest battle on the racetrack. You battle for 3rd on the podium at the moment between Merritt and Mayer. And Merritt's going to have a nice little look down the back straight, I'd suggest here. He's going to get a good run. Is he going to poke the nose out and try and dive it up the inside? We've seen a couple of drivers have a look. No, he's not. He's going to sit in behind and just play air on the side of caution. He looks like he's got a quicker car. Oh, as he gets really close to the rear wing there. He looks like he's got a quicker car at the moment who's got better lap pace. But it's one thing to be able to catch the car in front. It's another thing to be able to pass them.
Yeah, but in this case, based on what I'm hearing from John's engine, he's actually playing this right now. So just stay on board here and just keep your ear out. He catches the slide there, so this isn't going to be ideal for him as we go to the first turn. But when we're on the back straight, just listen to the engine note because I have a feeling that John Merritt is playing this to the wire. He has had the chance to make overtakes on previous laps, and he's actually backed out of it. So here we go. Coming into the horseshoe, down a second gear. Nice and easy on the throttle, no traction control in these Radicals. That's what makes them great. So here we go.
Here we go. He'll make a move here. He'll have to.
No. Ready? Look, he's backing off.
There's no pit stop, though. I don't understand this. Why is he not going forward? This is what I don't understand. He's definitely quicker than the car in front. We've been confirmed, at least from Baldwin, that there's no pit stop. So we're racing, and we've only got 6 minutes to go. I don't know what's going on here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he's definitely the quicker car, and there it is.
No, see, but it doesn't work. But it doesn't work. That's going to give him the outside, but then he's going to lose the inside on the right-hander. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but he did back up. He didn't hold the car to full revs. He loosened it up.
Coming behind. Look who's come behind, Mr. Woodsy Wood. So this is bringing Paul Wood into this battle as well, as the two leaders range their way off into the distance, Sagasa and Ellis. But this battle for 3rd is definitely heating up as we've got 6 minutes to go.
Yep. So, I'm not sure exactly what the plan is, but John Merritt on the previous laps definitely was backing out as he came up to the hairpin. Now, I don't know if that's to try and... I don't know. Do they have to fuel save that much?
I'm not sure. We got told they could go through to the end. I could think in my novice brain that possibly it could be a saving the rear tyre, trying to not get on the gas earlier and try and make the car quicker later on in the race. But we're about to find out. We're down into that braking zone, into the hairpin again, and he's not going to have a look. So we'll see. We'll just monitor this. We've only got 4.5 minutes to go. He's looking very racing, and he makes contact, and there we go.
You know who you're
They're
laughing?
around.
Paul Wood. Goes around the outside.
Yeah, Paul Wood's like, thank you.
Jumps up to P3. So, yeah, it looks like Richard maybe pulled up a little more than John was expecting. And he goes right into the back of it. There's actually a couple of incidents that have happened there. Looks like one with Adam Johnson further back.
Mate, seriously, I can't talk about drivers because they're just going to, like, yeah, I throw them under the bus, but here we go with Adam Johnson.
So
just caught that inside curb and it's just caught his front left-hand tyre and spun, so that was unfortunate there for Merritt. And that's exactly how it happened. Commentator's curse. There you go, mate.
Yeah, well avoided by Paul Wood there. Goes around the outside up into P3. So Stuart Ellis still chasing down Sagas. Sagas is doing a great job defending here. He's managed to keep about half a second to Stuart Ellis behind. Which is far enough that the draft down the back straight will not allow him to catch up. So as it stands with about 3 minutes to go in the session, Stuart's going to have to do something drastic to make this happen, or Sagas is going to have to slip up in some fashion. However, judging by the previous 21 minutes and 55 seconds, I'm going to say that that's not going to happen. Sagas has driven an excellent race so far, has led every single lap. But the only one that matters is the final one. So we'll see if he will stay ahead when the checkered flag comes out, as John Merritt manages to overtake Richard Mayer there for P4.
And this battle definitely has not...
Oh, that's
no!
it.
There we go. I talk about it and he's nearly in the fence again. So I might just shut up for the next 4 minutes, I think, mate, and just let him finish the race.
This is what happens sometimes when you're going down to the wire. You start to push a little harder, and the car just can't keep up. The tyres would most likely be having an issue right about now. Again, no traction control in these cars, no ABS. You have to manually downshift. So revs are important, and he unfortunately got caught out by that. So Sagas is now well and truly ahead. He'll be 5 seconds down the road, no problem for him at all. The question will be, can Paul Wood manage to close this gap? He's now down below 1 second. We've got 2 minutes left on the clock. There is enough time, theoretically, to catch, but Ellis would have to make another mistake. Again, the draft not powerful enough when you are more than half a second behind. John Merritt is 1.2 seconds, so Paul Wood's in a nice little bubble here. I'm pretty sure he'll be able to carry that all the way to the end of the race. Looking down at some of the other parts of this grid too, Adam Lavis is actually catching Richard Merritt at the back there. 3/10 to him. And Reece
I
Posner.
thought he would. I thought he would, mate. He was catching good, and Woodsy's actually going to be the one that's going to be the beneficiary of all the drama at the moment, sitting in P3. He was P5 earlier, and now sitting in P3 chasing down Stuart Ellis. But Adam Lavis, as I said, I was thinking, well, you actually mentioned in the broadcast he wasn't going to range onto the back of the cars in front, probably a little bit too far behind. But now he is ranging up onto the back of Richard Mayer. He's only 0.5 behind, as you can see on his screens, and he might be able to battle for a top 5, as we've only got a minute to go. But I tell you what, the big beneficiary tonight in this feature race being Woodsy.
100%. And that was the collision that we saw between John Merritt and Richard Mayer. Paul Wood managed to go out the outside, takes the off track, and as we see a crash there from Schweikart, that's allowed Schmidt to go by. We'll try and have a look at that in a moment. So here comes Lavis. Again, the draft just does not seem that powerful there. Brings it down to about 0.25 and then having to back out. So he's going to have to drive it in an incredibly fast last lap for this to count. The only benefit here for Adam would be... Actually, no. This race is going to be out as we see a car parked to the side. It looks like it's Grant Gill. We're actually on the last lap. We're in... Yep, that's 25 minutes there. So Adam's going to have to get a move on if he wants to get this done. He's close by, but I don't think he's got the time. Have a look at Paul Wood here, though. So Sagasa will cross the line and take the checkered flag. And unfortunately, John will not be able to take P2. And Lavis, yeah, just losing out there as well. P6 for him at the end.
Great drive by him, though, up 7 positions.
Oh, the crash there! That's Kevin Henderson!
Oh, massive crash
oh!
on the back. Who's that gets the beneficiary?
Hayden Schweiger! You're joking!
Last lap, last corner. We've got to go back for a replay of that one. On board with Aiden Schwerkart. He's minding his own business. There's a big incident in front. He's just going to open his eyes and go, I'm seeing the back gap and I'm going. And he's loving it, and he gets a couple of positions there free. So Aiden Schwerkart, unfortunate for those guys there, but that's race number 2, round number 3 of the Downforce Legends, the Radicals from Okayama, mate. That didn't disappoint, and it went all the way down to the last corner, as we saw, as we go through your standings. So it was we'll get that in a minute. So it was Braden Sagasa coming home in P number 1, your 1.9 MX Wraps racing driver. Great job. Started off the pole, finished 10th in race number 1, started off first in the feature race and was not headed, although he didn't have it his own way, but great job. Paul Wood in 2nd, John Merritt in 3rd, Stuart Ellis in 4th, and Richard Mayer in 5th. Adam Lavers in 6th, David Christensen in 7th, Reese Gosner in 8th, Guy Leach and Matt Schmidtke rounded out your 10 for the feature race tonight. Aiden Schwerkart, after being 5th in the first race, unfortunate in the second race, coming home in 11th position tonight. Joe Baldwin, Adam Tice, Kevin Henderson and Phil Butler will round out your 15. Warren Ibbett, Nick Fodiitis, Joshua Robertson, Scott Rankin and Phil King will round out your 20. In 21st position tonight was Adam Johnson, Philip Howe, Tony Baker, Brett Campbell, Sean Rees will round out your 25, and your 26 starters here for the feature race was Grant Gill. But mate, we had the Radicals here tonight, and it definitely didn't disappoint. How good was that?
No, it was. It was an interesting end to that race there. Again, Sagasa managing to maintain that lead, and also Aiden Schweikart absolutely profiting right at the last corner when Henderson...
He saw the gap, and I reckon his eyes opened. He saw the gap, and he's gone, I'm planting it, and I'm going through it. And that's exactly what happened, I'd suggest. Yeah,
exactly that. So that was a really good one all round. And I believe we've got a couple of drivers here who have joined us in the booth to talk about their races.
Yeah, we got Braden Sagasa up in the booth. Braden, mate, usually we go 3rd through to 1st, but you're the only one up here at the moment. I'm used to speaking to you up here in the GSRC booth now, mate. It's the 2nd time within a week, and you got another win. Obviously 10th in the first sprint race, but started off pole in the reverse top 10, and mate, you had that thing sorted and got the job done, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Aiden. It's good having a chat with you. Yeah, it was disappointing in qualifying. I just had to have dinner, couldn't qualify, just had to get through all the drama in race 1. I'm surprised I got to the invert. It was good to get to the invert, to have that fresh air in for the second race. But Stuart Ellis, he was putting on the pressure. He was all over me, and it was scary. And then I saw John Merritt was catching as well, and I think he had a crash with Richard Mayer, I believe. So that kind of gave me breathing room. And then Stuart Ellis, I think he just got a little bit loose, and then I had breathing air. And yeah, it was just all over the place at the moment. Just trying to catch my breath after that race.
Yeah, mate, well, it definitely would have been. I was getting excited in the broadcast booth. I could see what was happening. It was definitely quicker. It was catching you. But it was all about your racecraft. You definitely did a great job with that tonight. And to be able to consolidate that for the win, that's some good points, mate. if you go back and watch the broadcast, the way that me and Daniel were trying to articulate that and what was going on, we knew that the way that you were racing and the way that the people behind were trying to catch, but it was all about your racecraft and trying to position your car correctly on the track. And you definitely know new one for this, so you know how to do that, mate. So a big congratulations and a well-deserved P1.
Thanks, Daniel. That means a lot. Yeah, it was just about not heating up the rears, just trying to hit the rears at a decent temperature, just not trying to lock them up, and just trying to keep it nice and smooth on the throttle application.
Well, Daniel, across to you, mate. Anything you want to say to the main man, Braden, who's the winner of the feature race here for round number 3 of the Radicals here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club?
Yeah, not much more to add, mate. Look, just congratulations on a great drive, managing to give Stuart others behind you there, and also not putting a foot wrong. We saw it from John Merritt in the first race, and you basically did it yourself. You just keep it calm, collected, no slide outs, no harsh braking, no. It's very easy to do in these cars. We saw it multiple times over the course of the event, but no, just hit your brake markers, hit your lines, and carried you all the way to the finish.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, it was just, it's just all about survival, and I'm glad to get a win for 1-9. It's just good to get another one on the board.
Well, Braden, mate, we'll give you the opportunity before we go and have a little bit of an intermission before we bring you the GT4s here from Road Atlanta on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club streams, mate. Braden Sagasa, your round number 3 winner from 1-9 for the Radicals, the Downforce legends from Okayama, mate. A big shout out to everyone that made it possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Just obviously our main sponsor, MX Wraps. They've been a sponsor with us for a while, and great to have them on board, and just great to have the sponsor out the front and putting their name out there, and also the 1-9 boys as well. Then we had a few of them in the chat as well, and yeah, it was just a good race in the end.
Well done, mate. Well, it's not going to be the last time we see you on the podium this year, no doubt. But up in P1 tonight for round number 3 of the Radicals. So, Daniel, mate, that is round number 3, the final race, the feature race for what was, as I said, round number 3 of the Radicals, the Downforce legends from Okayama. Hold yourself tight, because we're about to go GT4 racing from Road Atlanta. We'll have a quick interval, but your top 3 tonight will go through your podium positions, your top 3 again. Braden Sagasa, Paul Wood and John Merritt, your top 3. But we will be back very shortly, and we'll bring you all the action of the GT4s around Road Atlanta here on the streams of Gentleman Sim Racing Club very shortly. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Round number 3 of the GT4s. Your location tonight is Road Atlanta. We've just come off the back of the Radicals, which was an amazing race that you saw there tonight at Okayama. But we're now GT4 racing around Road Atlanta. It is in Braselton, United States, Georgia. Can't wait for this one, of course. Daniel Kuriasar in the booth with me tonight as well. We're 8 minutes into the qualifying session, and mate, we come off the Radicals, and we'll quickly go through the track conditions and everything tonight. So we're running the full course configuration, USA Braselton, as I just said, 4.06 kilometers in length. Temperature tonight is 24 degrees Celsius, altitude of 291 meters rather. But Daniel, mate, we come off the back of sensational racing in the Radicals, and we're going GT4 racing now. I think we're going to be out of breath at the end of this one as we're into qualifying, and we've only got 3 minutes left into qualifying. On board with Trent Laves. He's up into second with a 1:25.178. But mate, if the Radicals is anything to go by, coming here into the GT4s around Road Atlanta, I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, nah, it should be a good one. GT4s always usually deliver really great, and Road Atlanta is one of those special tracks where anything can happen, especially around the corner you're watching on your screen right now. Lots of people tend to run wide, and so that could cause some chaos. Jordan Malcolm, 1:25.0, currently the fastest on track. Trent Lavis, the man on your screen in P2, 1:25.178. And I have to admit, I really like the Aston Martin and the way it looks and it sounds, but apparently it doesn't drive very well anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, mate, with all the iRacing updates and how it goes. I know the Ferrari's been really quick lately. Obviously, here we go. Here's the little segues, the segue into my night the other night. So I went all right in the Ferrari, and Zach Caban will say that he wanted me to talk about that, but I went all right. So the Ferrari's going okay in that at the moment, and Sam Chapman that we're on board with at the moment. And this was the track just last weekend that the Petite Le Mans was run at. So some of these drivers have done a lot of laps around here, so we'll see how they go as the race unfolds. It is a longer race tonight, just one race. It's not going to be a double race, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it's just a one.
Just a 40-minute race?
It's a sprint. It's a sprint round, which means they will be... Yeah, it's a sprint round. So first race will be 11 laps, and the second race will be reverse grid, top 10, 18 laps.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. So we're going to see a lot of different things come up tonight here on the stream to the Gentleman Sim Racing Club on board with Sam Chapman as he makes his way down the back straight. And very tricky section coming down into this heavy braking zone. It's really easy to get it wrong. So Sam Chapman coming down into 6th gear. He'll select 6th there. He'll come down into 2nd, in through the left and right, change of direction. Very, very easy to get loose on exit. He does a good job there and around the final 2 corners, and he's going to pull out of that lap. So obviously he was down.
So, yeah, he'll come back into the pits there.
There's one thing I need to say real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Padgett back in the sim. After everything he's going through, I can hear... So glad to see you active, and I don't know if he's back in the sim or just commenting on the post, but Greg Padgett, mate, from everyone at Gentleman Sim Racing Club, good to see you back here, mate.
You know, he commented earlier during the Downforce Legends that he still has some rehabilitation to go, so he's not quite in the sim, but he'll be in soon, I'm sure, as that is the end of qualifying. So we've got your starting grid here for round number 3 of the Orbic Australia GT4 Challenge here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club streams. It will be Jordan Malcolm and Trent Laves, your 1 and 2, Gary Cousins and Jared Knight out of 3 and 4. Sam Chapman, Mikey Hammond out of 5 and 6, John Merritt, Jake Jackson,
out of 7 and 8. Nick Fodiatis, after coming out of the previous race in the Downforce Legends, in the 9th position, and same with Adam Maverick rounding out your 10. In the 11th position tonight will be Dale Sharp, Richard King. 13th will be Joshua Robertson, David Christensen out of 14th. Paul Wood, Rob Hill, Kirk Chapman and Grant Gill out of your 18th position tonight. Paul Nichols out of 19th, and Phil Butler out of the 20th position. 21st and 22nd will be Simon Clapham and Stuart Thompson. As we're about to bring you round number 3 of the GT4 Orbic Australia Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club League here on the platforms of Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. So, mate, we're about to go green flag. Malcolm, Laves, Cousins, Knight, your top 4. Jared Knight's been quick early in this in the previous races, so we'll see whether he does it again tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure he'll get off to a good start. I don't see Sam Muir though, so his teammate won't be with him for this one. You can see the safety car coming in here. So we are under green flag conditions, and it's a decent start. And nice and clean from everyone. So they make their way past the start line. And Malcolm's got himself into a nice groove, but look at the cars behind. Everyone fighting up to the infamous crest here at Road Atlanta. See if it catches anybody out. But for now, looks like John Merritt will go up on the inside of Sam Chapman.
And Jake Jackson, the one coming off 2nd place, I believe, at Phillip Island, he's now back into the 8th position. So he's a little bit behind where he was used to finding himself on the racetrack last time out. So he's got a little bit of work to do. So interesting to see him there. His teammate Geordie Malcolm up at the front, Laves, Cousins, Knight and Hammer Time Hammond in the top 5. But as I said earlier, we come off Petit Le Mans. A lot of people have done a lot of laps around this track, and we're in a sprint round as opposed to a endurance round. So a lot different type of racing tonight, and we'll see how these guys go. But at the moment, Malcolm and there's a battle here between Merritt up the inside, and he's going to get that job done. But a lot different type of racing around Road Atlanta than what we saw last weekend at the Petit Le Mans, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I actually missed out on that one, unfortunately. I did want to race it, but it skipped my mind. I thought it was on, so it's unfortunate from my end. But yes, Road Atlanta, great track. Again, infamous crest usually catches people out here as they come up the hill, and you can't see your brake marker. You also can't see the corners ahead, so you have to line up with a tree. At least that's what I do, and that way you can line yourself up, go around, slightly cut the corner there going into turn 3, and then you make your way down to the section on your screen where you have this wide right-hander. Oh, as we see, that's Jared Knight, I believe. He has gone for an adventure. Unfortunate for him, he'll have to watch that rejoin. Wow, look at that. All the way down, possibly to the back end of the... Yeah, he is, down in P22. 18 positions lost with that move. That is a harsh one.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Jared as we on board with Richard King, but that's how easy it can happen. And through that change of direction there, if you catch a little bit of a curb, the rear end just really wants to get a little bit loose, so you've got to be very careful. So Jared Knight obviously got caught out on that, and he's going to go right back to the field and want to make his way back forward. But Richard King on board at the moment in the 9th position in the Mercedes. The Mercedes hasn't been the quickest around here, and he's doing pretty good at the moment. He's the first of the Mercedes in the 9th position and chasing down Nick Fodiatis. So we're showing again, Ferraris are very strong here, and Ferraris are very strong in the GTs since we went GT3, GT4. So we've got 5 Ferraris in the top 8, but Richard King in the Mercedes doing a great job at the moment. He's chasing down Nick Fodiatis right in front of him in the Ferrari.
Nick's doing a great job with the defending here. As we just come into wide turn. Nice use of the curbs there. As net code is ruled by race control between Grant Gill and Kurt Chapman on lap 1. So Jordan Malcolm leading this race well and surely. Trent Lavis is right up his rear though, 0.3 of a gap between those two. Gary Cousins with about a two and a half second gap there, so the front two in their own little bubble. And as we see Richard King, I wonder if he'll go for a move here.
Yeah, he's in a prime position. We'll see whether he makes a move and whether Nick Photiodis is going to try and cover that off. It doesn't look like he will. We'll see how aggressive he is down into the braking zone. He's got that job done, and he's up into the 8th position. So a great job there by Kingy. And Photiodis is not letting him have it lightly, as he's right in behind him at the moment. So they make their way onto the main straight. Like we said, ladies and gentlemen, is sprint race round tonight, so not a long one. We've got 2 races. We will invert the grid for the second race, so that's going to be interesting. But this battle at the moment, only 4 laps into 11, is definitely heading up. But at the moment, Malcolm, Laves, Cousins, Merritt and Mikey Hammer Time Hammond is your top 5. But Kingy, poor position, started 12th, doing a great job in the Merc at the moment.
He is managing to hold off Nick. For now, as Jake Jackson and Sam Chapman switch positions. Jake Jackson now up into P6. And another close one on track is this one here. Joshua Robertson chasing down Adam Lavis. Oh, it's Sam Chapman. I can recognize that car. And actually, it's Sam Chapman and Jake Jackson as I was talking to them. So let's have a look. Or talking about them, rather. So here we go. There's the overtake. They come into the first of the right-handers here, the double right-handers. Bang!
Whoa.
Sam Chapman's going into the side of that Porsche. So that's a rough one there for both of those. But Jake Jackson is definitely the one that comes out worse. And Race Control will have something to say about that for sure.
100% they will, and Jake won't be happy with that after coming off a solid result at Phil Minor. He's definitely not going to be happy with that one, but Joshua Robertson at the moment, ninth position, all over the back of Adam Lavers. So Josh Robinson having a good job in that Merc. But, mate, how different is it between rounds that we see the 1.9 MX5 or MX Wraps guys completely blitz the field to now we go around Road Atlanta and they're struggling, or some of them are struggling? Like, how different is it? It's so good to see, and this is what it is on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club and the racing that we've got.
Yeah, it's, there's always a spanner to be thrown in the works as Adam Lavis goes wide over that curb. Dale Sharp might even have an attack here. Let's have a look. As yes, he does. He has to back up there. Dale Sharp going on the inside. Good job. Moving up into P9, which will put Adam Lavis in P10. So if he can manage to maintain this position for the next 6 laps, he'll start on pole, since we do reverse the top 10 for the start of the second race. Back to what you were saying, though. So the 1.9 guys, quite powerful here in the GT4 series, and as you alluded to, they have been quite strong over the past couple of rounds. But in this one, it just seems as though, there's no Sam Muir, so already they're missing one guy, as Race Control will give Sam Chapman a 10-second penalty for not giving racing room to Jake Jackson on lap 4. And speaking of Jake Jackson, so he obviously got caught up in that, so that's why he's not able to move his way up the grid. Just an unfortunate accident between those two. And I'm not too sure who else on the grid right now is part of the 1.9, or is it just Malcolm?
Jordy Malcolm leading the pack at the moment, so that's a 1.9 leading at the front. So he's got Trent Laves at the moment, or Lavers, in behind him. He's only half a second behind him, so that's a little battle at the moment at the front that you can see going on. So at the moment it is Aston Martin versus
That's McLaren.
McLaren, sorry, just trying to look at my live timing. So this battle at the front of the motor race is definitely heating up, and these guys have definitely stretched their legs in front of the field. So we'll see whether Lavers has anything for Jordy Malcolm, but Jordy Malcolm It's been a familiar story. It's been the last couple of weeks 1-9 up the front in the GT4s, but they're not having it their whole way tonight or their own way tonight. And Trent is definitely trying to get the job done, or at least try and make his way up in what it will be the first of 2 races tonight. So, yeah, mate, it's they've got their heads and heels above the field at the moment with John Merritt in third. But will it be a 1-9 win again here in the sprint race? We're about to find out, but Trent Laves, he's not going to let Jordan Malcolm have it his own way.
No, he's right there on him. If you have a look there at the previous laps, well within. I mean, Laves was 0.04 slower than Malcolm on lap 2, a tenth faster on lap 3, 0.006 faster on lap 4, and then on lap 6, the previous was 0.006 slower. So he is right up there on pace. He is not letting Malcolm get away with anything at the moment. The question will be, can he gather up enough speed to make a move? Because that McLaren is actually quite rapid in a straight line. And as you can see, as we get onto the back straight here of Road Atlanta, you're going to notice that Aston Martin does not close the gap up substantially to that corner. So what will have to happen is either he'll have to try and attack harder into one of the previous corners and be closer on exit, which then might allow him to get enough drive to get past, or he's going to have Jordan make a mistake, which is going to allow him to get an easier overtake. But as it stands right now, as we just come around the final corner,
You got my disease, mate.
To start lap 8, and again, Trent Lavis goes down to about 0.25, and then as soon as they come out of that exit, it blows out to 0.4. Now watch, as they'll come down the hill, they'll start coming down the hill, and he'll probably maintain that 0.4 gap. The question will be whether or not he can try and close up on the exits, because unfortunately that McLaren just manages to stretch its legs on the straights, which is why Trent isn't able to get that job done.
Yeah, Aston Martin and Trent is definitely quicker through the change of direction, but like you said, down the main straights, or down the straights rather, the McLaren just stretches its legs a little bit. So it's going to be all about Trent just maximising his corner speed as we make the way onto the back straight this time around. He's right up behind him, but this will be a good example that what you referenced there on the straight line speed. He's in the draft, and you can slowly see that McLaren is driving away, but then it makes me be a little bit of a liar here, because he's ranging up a little bit on the back of him, but he's not quite close enough to get the job done as he tries to go around the outside. What a move, and he's going to get the job done around the outside, and he goes up the inside, and no, Malcolm says, you're not having that one. But Laver's staying on the inside, and we're too wide. So this is what we're about to see for the next couple of minutes, and that's the difference of the cars. So these boys definitely have the gloves off here early on for round number 3 of the GT4s here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. But how good was that? I thought he was going to get the job done. He couldn't quite get the job done, but I reckon he's going to round up for round 2 very, very shortly and try and get the job done on Jordan Malcolm.
Yeah, that was a great move into the final sector. I really did think he'd have Jordan Malcolm on the inside there, but then what happened was Jordan played it quite smart, knew that the outside line's going to be faster coming to the line. But what I really have to applaud is that Trent saw that final. Look how close he is there. He saw that final turn.
Coming again. It's coming again, Daniel. Here we go. It's going to happen again, mate.
He's flashing him too.
Flashing.
He's flashing him too.
He's quicker. There's going to be something up into this braking section. He's going to go around the outside again. Here we go. We said the straight line speed wasn't so good, but that shows us a little bit different. We're down into the braking section. Is he going to go around the outside? He's going to try get it done. He keeps the car on the outside, and it looks like Malcolm's going to hold on the outside again. They're too wide, making their way down into the final turn here at Road Atlanta, and it's going to be same and status quo, and it's going to be Malcolm and Laves at 1 and 2. So he's trying really hard to get that job done, just can't quite get it done, mate.
Yeah, Trent is just committing to that final corner. So this is smart. So what Jordan's doing that's giving him the upper edge here is he's maintaining the outside line, knowing that for Trent to keep the inside line, he has to sacrifice speed in the corner. And that McLaren, when I say it's faster on the straights, the only time that the draft will work is if Trent is within 0.2 of a second. It's the only time the draft has any form of effect that allows him to go into the corner. So as they come up to that final turn, Trent knows that if he moves too far to the left, right, he'll lose some of the speed going into the corner. So instead, he just fully commits and jumps the inside curb and then some to just maintain the line. And he's done it twice now. And it's absolute commend because he's just like, nah, I'm not moving. Like the track can move. This is my line. I'm sticking to it. Screw everything else. And unfortunately now he's just a little too far back. So he won't have to commit so hard. He'll be able to just fall in line. But when they're side by side, he just looks at the inside of this final turn and thinks the grass is fine. See, he didn't have to do it that time, as we are on the white flag now. So it'll be the last turn round.
Looks like Geordie Malcolm's sort of got the edge at the moment, and he's going to possibly, with anything not going wrong, get the job done. But we'll see whether Labors has anything for him. But I tell you what, after what we've seen in the Radicals tonight, there is nothing that's off the cards but this battle for first and second. I reckon Labors is not going to leave anything on the table, and he gets a good run off the turn down the first of the back straights here at Road Atlanta, and he's right up behind Geordie Malcolm in the MX-5, the MX Wraps car. Big hit up into the back of Geordie Malcolm. That's going to affect his run down the back straight. And it looks like everything going good. Geordie Malcolm's going to get this one done. But what a race so far. I can't wait for race number 2. But race number 1's not over at the moment. Of course, this is all brought to you by all the sponsors at Loby Racing, Flash Graphics, M-Wave, Waste Options. And of course, this whole race or this whole series is brought to you by Orbic Australia. So a big thank you to Orbic Australia. But they're going through the final turn, and it will be Jordan Malcolm taking out race number 1, round number 3 of the GT4 Orbic Australia GT4 series here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And Merritt, Hammertine, Cousins coming across there. I don't know where to look, mate. There's battles everywhere.
Yeah, very, very close towards the back end. And it looks like Paul Nichols is even in a fight of his own. He's not going to be able to catch Jake Jackson, though, at the line, so he will stay P16. And then there's Philip Butler as they cross the line as well. So a decent first race here. Jordan Malcolm managing to hold Trent Lavis off to take that win. As we just see the last couple of guys, that's Rob Hill and Jared Knight, who was unfortunately involved in an incident earlier. So he'll just come around the final sector now. And that'll be race 1 done and dusted. And then we can move on to the longer race 2, where pit stops will become a factor.
Well, we'll go through your place getters for race number 1 tonight for round number 3 of the GT4s here for the Orbic Australia GT4 Challenge on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club streams. It was Jordan Malcolm, Trent Laves, Merritt, Hammond and Gary Cousins, your 5. Richard King come home in 6th position, Joshua Robertson 7th, Nick Fodiatis in 8th, Dale Sharp in 9th, and Paul Wood rounded out your 10. Adam Maverick coming home, or Adam Labors in 11th, Grant Gill in 12th, David Christensen in 13th, Kurt Chapman in 14th, Jake Jackson coming home in 15th tonight. He'll want to do better in the feature race tonight after a great showing at Phillip Island last week. Paul Nichols in 16th, Stuart Thompson in 17th, Sam Chapman, Simon Clapham and Philip Butler coming home in 20th. Rob Hill 21st, Jared Knight in 22nd and Chris Stark in 23rd position. But Orbic Australia, a big shout out to you, a big supporter of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Thank you for being a part of it, and I can't wait to bring all the action here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club streams for what will be the feature race here, mate. We're getting excited. They're in warm-up. We've only got about 40 seconds to go. Full reverse grid. Let's go racing.
Yep, should be a great one. So once the warm-up session finishes, we'll be able to load that grid for you. So just Paul Wood out there trying to get some test laps in while he can. There's a couple of other guys out there as well, John Merritt and Trent Lavis. Trent Lavis, man, he was pushing that car so hard towards the end there, and it's just unfortunate that he couldn't get the move done. Jordan was actually really, really smart in his car placement, especially in this corner here. So Trent will try and keep the inside for this corner here, but it means you have to sacrifice speed, and Jordan knew that. And because of how the curbing is set up on that exit, you can actually go quite wide. So, yep, that's exactly what Jordan did. He just stayed wide, kept his foot down, and that gave him more speed at the crest, and then it gave him more speed at the bottom of the hill as well. But again, just Trent's commitment to the inside of that corner was just like, no, I'm not moving, and he just kept it planted. I thought that the severity of that bump might actually hit him too far up, but he did well. He just kept his foot down and maintained.
Yeah, he tried, and as tried he did, but couldn't quite get the job done. But here is your starting grid for the feature race here for the Orbic Australia GT4 Challenge here on the GSRC streams. It will be Paul Wood and Dale Sharp out of your first two positions. Nick Fodiitis and Joshua Robertson out of 3 and 4. Richard King, Gary Cousins out of 5 and 6. Mikey Hammond and John Merritt out of 7 and 8. Trent Laves and Geordie Malcolm out of your 9 and 10 tonight. Out of 11th will be Adam Maverick, Grant Gill 12, Christensen, Chapman, Jackson, Nichols, Thompson, Chapman, Clapham and Butler, year 20, as they're about to get the green flag. It will be Rob Hill and Jared Knight rounding out your field. Look out for Jared Knight. He's quick in these cars, but we're about to go green flag racing. We're led to the green by Paul Wood, and we are green here for the feature race for round number 3 of the GT4s around Road Atlanta. I'm looking forward to this one, mate. We've got a pit stop tonight as well, so a lot of stuff to happen. We've got a lot of hard charges in the background. Gary Cousins there being passed by Geordie Malcolm. That was the winner of the first race. So a lot of hard charges coming through the field, so we'll see how they go tonight.
Yeah, it's a very clean start here from everyone. Paul Wood with a nice little lead, almost to a second there. Dale Sharp still managing to hold that gap. And a really close battle between Malcolm, Lavis, and Merritt, and also Mikey Hammer Hammond. So here we go. You can see Cousins just getting overtaken by Adam Lavis there, 4P10. And as we move up, and who's this on the inside? Is that Kurt Chapman? I believe it is. Just got to the inside, gets contact there with Grant Gill. That's going to put him aside. We might have to have a look at that. Grant Gill has had a very shocking night tonight, I must say. He had a poor showing in the Radicals and has unfortunately there just got clipped with Kurt Chapman, but it looks like Jake Jackson has something to say about it as he tries to run down towards the inside of the corner, down on the brakes. Wow, he held that well, actually. Good job there for Jake Jackson.
Yeah, Jake very brave through there. He was very decisive on that move as he makes his way across the back end of the track, but very decisive on that move. Nick Fodiitis here having a big moment coming onto the main stretch. So he's going to lose a couple of positions, and in behind him, it looks like Cousins is going to make his way up as well. So that's as easy as it can happen, but that's going to let Jake Jackson catch up onto the back of this as well. But Nick Fodiitis up in the 10th position. He was there in the Downforce Legends earlier. Up into the top 10 tonight. He was in the top 10 in the big crash in front. So that was good by Nick in the Porsche. So Joshua Robertson.
That's huge.
Big
I think that's blown the engine too. Yep. Yeah.
That's night done for Josh. So that's unfortunate for him. He was running really well. So unfortunate there for Josh. There's an investigation necessary. Car 916, Kurt Chapman Racing Room with car 304.
Okay, so they'll get away with that one, no worries.
Yeah, so we'll see how we go. But Nick Fodiitis or Photiardis doing a great job up in 9th position.
Oh, there's an
Chasing down
incident
Maverick.
again.
There's another one in front. I think that was just a lock brake, mate.
No, it's just here. So if we... So Dale Sharp. Let's have a look.
Three
Goes
wide.
in. And yeah, look at that. John goes right on the inside. So John looked for the inside. That's an interesting one there. This is a massive dive.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, we're commentators, but that's gonna be some trouble for Johnny.
Yeah,
But unfortunate there for him. Might have had some malfunction to his hardware or something, but yeah, that was unfortunate. But we're back on with the race. Nick Photiardis up into 7th position. Look at this battle. It is completely closing up at the moment. You can see 1st position sort of going off into the distance, but 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or sorry, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. This battle is really, really close. We're lap 3 into 18 here for round number 4 of the, or round number 3 rather, of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club GT4s, and Road Atlanta with Geordie Malcolm, race number 1 winner. He's come from the back of the pack and he's already up into P number 5, mate. How's this for some racing?
he's up 5 positions. Started P10, of course, due to the reverse grid. So
reverse 10, not reverse whole grid.
That's
Sorry,
right,
mate.
it's reverse 10, yeah. So he's currently in P5. The guy he wants to chase down is Trent Lavis, who's in P3. So Trent's doing a great job of using a giant yellow Merc as a buffer between himself and Jordan. And I must say, I'm really impressed by Paul Wood, just well and truly ahead, 3.5 seconds down the road of Mikey Hammer Time Hammond. And I didn't think it'd be that far ahead, but he's doing such a great job with the Mercedes.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, mate. And if we have a look at the last lap time, so last time around, 126.3 from Paul Wood. Mikey Hammer Time Hammered 125.7, 126.8. So he's actually gapping the field by about, well, 125.7 from Mikey Hammer Time Hammond was quicker, but he's actually quicker by about 0.3 of a second to the rest of the field at the moment, except for the 2nd place driver, Mikey Hammer Time Hammond. So going all right and going good. So, and if what we saw earlier in the Radicals, he's doing a great job, but we do have a pit stop coming up as well. So there's all that strategy to go around on board at the moment with Richard King. He's got Geordie Malcolm all over the back of him, your race 1 winner. Don't be surprised, Geordie's not going to want to sit there anytime soon or for too much longer. He's going to want to make his way through because he's got Trent Laves just in front of him as well as he gets that job done. He got that job done. Now we've got 1 and 2 in behind each other from race number 1. So Malcolm's chasing down Geordie Malcolm's chasing down Trent Laves. So we'll see how that race unfolds as Richard King just got a little bit loose there into turn number 1. So now Malcolm chasing down Trent Laves in front, as you can see, but they've still got 2 drivers in front of them, Mikey Hammer Time Hammond and Paul Wood in front as we go back to the replay.
So it looks like Sam Chapman loses traction there. This is a big one. He's right in the middle of the circuit. Well done. Oh, no! That's a very poor rejoin. That's unfortunate there. So we'll just watch that again. And unfortunately for Sam, he broke the cardinal rule. Just watch here.
Hold your brakes.
Now, this is good. Everybody manages, but then he tries to get out of the way. Oh, right in the path of Rob Hill. I can't imagine race cars are going to be too happy about that one.
Yeah, well, we'll obviously hear about that, but back on board with Geordie Malcolm. But the normal rule is hold your brakes. But obviously he's just trying to get out of the way, and unfortunate there for Hill, the other driver. But Kurt Chapman at the moment now on board in 11th position. This is a spicy little battle, mate. 11th, 10th, 9th. 8th. So have a look at these cars. This is a spicy little battle. And I reckon something might come out of this. We're only 6 laps into 18, but it's a spicy battle, mate. And Kurt Chapman all over the back of Gary Cousins. David Christensen just in front of them as well. Mate, what do you make of the race so far? It's definitely a lot closer than the first one. And obviously we got Paul Wood, Loebsy, and or Lavesy, sorry, and Mikey Hammertime a little bit up the road, but this is definitely a lot closer with this mid-pack.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see just how close the grid is once the pit strategy starts to unravel. There's a couple of people that have come into the pits already. Otherwise, it's been a great race. A couple of unfortunate accidents there. If you didn't see, race control giving a 15-second penalty to Sir Chapman there for that rejoin. And I can't say that I'm surprised, as it was quite an egregious one. Kurt Chapman goes down on the inside here of Gary Cousins and gets the move done. A good move from the Porsche driver there as we move up to Jake Jackson now, who's looking at his own move to Nick Verdiatis. All in Porsche. That's right, everyone drives a Porsche. So what's looking at the timing tower here, what do we got? There's actually more Mercs than anything else.
Yeah, which is really interesting considering coming off the Petit Le Mans and seeing the other leagues and things going on. We do have a Mercedes, Aston Martin, Porsche, McLaren.
Jake Jackson! Why?
Oh, wow. As I try and give you all the different cars, but it is Mercedes, Aston Martin, Porsche, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Porsche. So it's very mixed up at the front considering to what we've seen, well, in my time through the officials and through what we saw through the Petit Le Mans. So there's 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 at the moment, mate.
Yeah, it's actually really good to see. The only one that's not up there is BMW, but it's not very represented. The only 2 cars currently are Philip Butler in P15, and Dale Sharp, of course, well known in the BMW there, P18. So good representation. Mercs lead the way. Aston Martin in second place. Whoa, David Christensen using all of that curb and then some, maintaining his position there as Malcolm comes into the pits. So Malcolm will be the first of the top guys to come in. We'll see how that develops, looking for the undercut.
Yeah, and we're 8 laps into 18. It looks like Paul Wood's got 2.5 seconds on the rest of the field as we're back with David Christensen, as he just said. So this is a spicy little battle through the mid-pack at the moment. But let's not take away from your leader, Paul Wood. He is 2 seconds in front of the rest of the field, and he's doing a great job. He's got Trent Laves in front of him as well, but Christensen does have Jake Jackson all over the back of him, and Nick Verdiatis in front of him as well. So we can't turn away from this battle, mate. As much as I want to go back and chat about the leaders, we cannot turn away from this battle because it's very, very spicy, and we want to see what happens.
Yeah, Jake Jackson's lining up at the moment. David Christensen's managed to keep a decent gap here to Nick in the Porsche, but Jake Jackson is really looking to try and get past as we see the lights turn on. So that's good. We're now technically going into the darker hours. And Jake Jackson's going to come in as well.
The pit.
Yep,
so he's the first one to blink. So he's coming into the pits, first one to blink, getting out of the action. And don't be surprised if we see Jake Jackson here jump a couple of spots, because he was in a really, really big battle pack there and sacrificing his lap speed. So he's jumped out. So don't be surprised in the next 5 or 10 minutes if we see, or 5 minutes, if we see Jake Jackson actually jump a couple of positions in this race. But Trent Laves at the front of this motor race. I thought Paul Woodsy was leading earlier. He must have had an incident. So no. Trent's done, and now Mikey's making a move up the inside as well. So Mikey Hammertime Hammond, he's up into second position as well. So Trent, Paul Wood, after leading this race early on, I thought he was. My apologies. But but there's moves on for the front of the
that's
race.
What happened there.
Yeah,
so
right.
Wood going well wide. That's allowed Trent to come up right behind him there and go for the move in the next couple of laps. So it's an unfortunate one there for Paul Wood. Had a decent lead, and now currently in P3. So now he'll be looking to use that pit strategy to his advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in. No, he decides to stay out. That's okay. He's going to follow the leaders. So the closest battle right now is actually at the back there. Paul Nichols and Sam Chapman. As Nick Ferdiatis is also closing in on Adam Lavis for P5. And Knight has decided to come into the pits.
Yeah, so the pit lane strategy is about to play out right now. So people are going to have different strategies and everything's going to go on differently with their strategies. So we'll see how it happens. We obviously saw that early on with Jake Jackson. He's done his pit strategy early. Nick Fodiatis, that we're on board with at the moment. He hasn't come through pit lane, so we'll see what happens. There's been a lot of battles through the mid-pack. At the moment, Trent Laves and Mike Hammond at the front are pretty much stretching their legs. Paul Wood's been there or thereabouts, and he's going to catch up as well. But with the pit lane strategy, just keep an eye out on Jake Jackson because he did come in earlier. He's going to have some fresh air and to be able to cut some good laps. So he could create or gain 2 or 3 seconds just getting some decent laps in while these guys battle each other. So it's going to be interesting. We're 10 minutes into 18, 10 laps rather into 18, 14 minutes 20 into the race. So mate, I don't know if I'm overthinking it as David Christensen decides to come into pit lane. Would you rather be the man that goes into pit lane earlier within a battle and try and get some clean air, or would you be the one to stay out and try and do the long run?
Depends on the track, depends on the race, honestly. Some tracks lend well to undercuts. Some tracks lend well to overcuts. Depending on how you travel during the race would depend on what you do, whether the having clean air is more advantageous on a track with lots of corners.
I'm referencing this track.
Yep.
What would you rather do?
But on Road Atlanta, just based on the back straights, I'd probably want to mirror what the car in front does. But if I dropped off too much, then yeah, I'd probably look at an undercut. The strongest thing here is going to be having a draft down the back straight. So if you knew that you could pit and possibly come out into some traffic just far enough back that you benefit from the draft, but not so close that they hold you up, that's probably the best way. But if you wanted to take the safer route, then yeah, you would look at either undercutting and trying to get a clean track and seeing if you can beat them on the outlaps. That would probably be my move. It's probably undercut.
So what do you think with Sam? What do you think, with Jake Jackson with his undercut early? Do you think that's going to play out well for him as we see Kurt Chapman now go into pit lane? Do you think that's going to play out well for him late on in the race? We're back on with Jake Jackson at the moment. He was one of the first stoppers. So what do you think with that?
In front of him, Maiden.
Say again?
I might point out who's in front of him currently, mate.
Yeah, I was just about to say. So Trent has pit and come out. So Jake Jackson's undercut worked slightly, but not to the cars that mattered. So he'll now move up into P11. I will say, though, that the biggest winner out of all of that is Jordan Malcolm. He pit lap 7, and he's currently P6. So Trent Lavis stayed out, managed to get the lead of the race, but he is now in P10. And Jordan Malcolm is P6. So Jordan Malcolm really benefited from the undercut there.
That's interesting, and that obviously made me look like I wasn't looking at the race, to be honest. But yeah, just there's a lot going on in my live timing at the moment, just trying to catch up on it. But Nick Fodiatis here in the 4th position. He is all over the back of Gary Cousins, so they're staying out. Gary's now gone into pit lane as well. So Gary's into pit lane. Nick Fodiatis is going to continue on and keep going and take the lead on the race.
Yeah, I wonder if he's looking at a fuel-saving strategy for this one. The only problem is then I don't think you're going to have enough speed on this in-lap. Let's see, who else is out on track right now? That'll be... So, Philip Butler just came out of the pits, I believe. Actually, no, he's still yet to pit, so never mind. He is P2 with a 15-second gap. So 15 seconds Nick has to the car in P2, but P2 hasn't pit, so that's not really a threat. The car that he would be having to look at is 16 seconds behind. That is Jordan Malcolm. I'm not too sure what the pit lane transit time plus fuel would be in these cars, but I don't think it's 16 seconds. I think it's longer than that. So Jordan Malcolm will most likely take the lead of this motor race once Nick Fodiatis and Philip Butler come into the pits. And if that is the case, then props to the 1.9. That was a great strategy there.
Yeah, definitely great strategy there by Malcolm. But there's a lot to play out yet, to be honest. Nick Fodiatis on the screen at the moment. He's going to come into pit lane this time around as you see him come in. So he's going to drop back down through the field. Jordy Malcolm will take the lead of this motor race. Phil Butler, who he's just passed, so Phil Butler will come through pit lane. So he's out of it at the moment. Mike Hammer Time Hammond, Trent Laves, Paul Wood and Jake Jackson will be your 5. So looks like it's been a great strategy there by the 1.9 guys. Jordy Malcolm up the front of the field, and he's stretched his legs at the front at the moment and got 2.5 seconds over Mike Hammond, Trent Laves, Paul Wood, Jake Jackson. But I need to keep referencing Jake Jackson as we're on board. He's up 10 positions. That's why I was making reference to him. He's had great strategy. I thought he was going to be able to undercut people. He was in 10th or something around about those places when he come into pit lane, and he was in a battle and he got out of it and he goes, I want to utilise my pace, and now he's up into P5 and he's battling Paul Wood in front of him at the moment and Trent Laves. So that was good strategy there by Jake Jackson.
Yeah, it's definitely worked in his favour. 10 positions gained, but the big issue is that he didn't he didn't come out in front of the guys that he wanted to come out in front of, which is the 2 in front of him now. So it'll be all to work for as we have 4 laps left in this race. But if you're Jordan Malcolm, you're laughing all the way to the checkered flag, because I don't think, bar a mistake from the McLaren, that these guys are going to catch. Mike Hammond only 2.5 seconds behind, but that is a long time in this race. And Trent Lavis, of course, 3 seconds behind him. So this little pack here, 3, 4, and 5, they'll be battling each other, but I think it's pretty safe to say that Jordan Malcolm will take the win of this race. And Mikey Hammond will most likely come across in P2 as Jake Jackson looks on the inside of Paul Wood. He's going to play the safe game. Very well done. It's too risky to try and cut on the inside there. You'll most likely hit the car on the outside, and that wouldn't be something you want to do with such little laps left to go in the race.
Yeah, well, Jake just erring on the side of caution there. He did show his nose up into turn number 1, thought better of it, but this battle for 5th, 4th and 3rd is definitely heating up. We've got the Mercedes and the Porsche and the Aston Martin, so this is definitely heating up. But as you said, Malcolm and Hammond, they're off into the distance at the moment. It's pretty much a battle for the minors. We're lap 15 into 18 here for round number 3 of the GT4 Orbic Australia GSRC race, mate. I really can't get my words out. It's been a great night, and of course we'll just take an opportunity and just calm down, because we're 15 into 18. We'll have a shout out to those sponsors, of course. Login Systems, Player One Sim Gear, M-Wave, Flash Graphics, Waste Options, and of course Orbic Australia. A big shout out to you guys, because without you guys we don't go racing, we don't give you a broadcast. But this battle between Jake Jackson and Paul Wood is definitely heating up as we are lap 16 and 18. Only 2 laps to go here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club streams, and we're excited as Jake Jackson going to have a go on Paul Wood. We're about to find out, mate. But how good is it? We've been streaming for the last couple of weeks. My first time commentating on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club streams for the last couple of weeks. We've gone Radicals and GT4s, and the racing has been absolutely brilliant, mate. How good has it been?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Really good showings, all 3 rounds. As race control gives us 10-second penalty there. David Christensen for contact with Kurt Chapman on lap 14. I wonder, is that this battle that came through? Yes. No. Yes. Yes. There he is. Just gives him a tap there. It's unfortunate. It's not really David's fault, but he is the one that, you know, if you're the car behind, you got to make sure you don't hit the car in front of you. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
And Jake Jackson now making a run down the inside here of Paul Wood into the final chicane. Jake Jackson, is he going to get it done? We've seen this in race number 1. That's the opposite way of what we saw with the battle in race number 1. Jake Jackson couldn't get the job done, and they're going to go nearly side by side through the final turn. And Jake Jackson, he's all over the back of Paul Wood down into turn number 1. Is he going to have a go now? It looks like he's just going to sit back and try and set it up down into the back stretch. As Paul Wood goes a little bit wide, he's going to open the door and allow Jake just to have a little bit of a look. Jake's going to just put his nose there. He runs over there. There's a 1X there. But Jake there could have possibly just sit in the back and get the run in the background, but he was definitely not leaving anything on the table there.
Yeah, he went just a little wide. He cut that corner hard, and unfortunately got some air time, which will obviously slow you down. So that's allowed Paul Wood to get away from that. So Jake's going to have some work to do to try and clamber up that gap. Looking at just around the track here, some close battles. John Merritt there in P14, chasing down Stuart Thompson, and Nick Fodiatis chasing down Philip Butler. So those two pitting, of course, in the same lap. So once in the lead of this race, but now down to P16. The pit strategy was just much stronger to pit earlier than that. Lap 7, of course, was when Jordan Malcolm came in. As Merritt does make that move there for P13. Jake Jackson looking on the inside. No, he'll just stay in line. He's only got one lap more to get this done, so we want to get a move on.
Yeah, we'll see whether he can get the job done over Woodsy. It's not going to take him up into the podium positions to make it another 1-9, not podium lockout, but 2 on the podium. But he's going to look on the outside now into turn number 1. Not the ideal way to go. He's going to look for the switchback. No, he can't do that there either. So he's just going to sit in behind across the top in the change of direction. He's going to have a look, I'd suggest, down into the right-hander. So we'll see as they go through this change of direction now. He's got to get a good run off this left-hand corner and see whether they can do it. So he gets a decent run, not quite close enough as they make their way down into the final, probably one of the final 2 passing sections. He drives really deep down into the corner there and couldn't get it done. So he's got one more job to get it done down the back straight. We are on the final lap. We'll go back to the leaders if we can, because it is all about Geordie Malcolm tonight. And he has been streets above the rest as he's down into the final braking zone. 1-9 will win, although we were talking about the battle between Jackson and Wood, but it's all about Jordan Malcolm tonight. Your winner, round number 3 of the GT4 Orbic Australia GSRC streams. It is Geordie Malcolm, P1. Mikey Hammertime Hammond coming home in 2nd, and Trent Laves in 3rd. We'll have a look at that battle. Who got the battle between Woodsy? It looked...
Jake Jackson broke too late.
Oh, Jake Jackson broke too late. So Woodsy's
look at
got
that.
the
Have a look at
job
Richard
done
King. Richard King's going to go around the outside and gain a free place because of that. He's going to try and hold that inside line, but it's not going to work. Bang, across the line. That was close.
What a race.
Yeah,
What a race.
That's a hectic one there. It's an unfortunate one there for Jake Jackson. Again, tried just a little too hard, missed his brake marker, had to go off course. Luckily didn't hit anybody, and almost held off Richard King to the line. I wonder, do we have... There isn't that camera. I was going to, if there was a photo finish camera, I was going to try and see just how close it was. The timing board puts it at 0.07 of a second between the two. But yeah, that was absolutely to the line.
Yeah, it was a great race, mate. Round number 3 of the GT4s here from Road Atlanta, brought to you by Orbic Australia. How good was that? The feature race tonight will bring your results up on the screen, as you can see right now. It was Jordan Malcolm coming home in P1, Mikey Hammond in P2, with Trent Laves rounding out your top 3. Paul Wood, Richard King, Jake Jackson, Jared Knight, Adam Maverick, Gary Cousins and David Christensen rounding out your 10 from Sharp Sim Racing. Dale Sharp in 11th position tonight, Kurt Chapman, John Merritt, Sean Thompson, Philip Butler out of finishing 15th, Nick Fodiatis, who was up there earlier, unfortunate night for him, Simon Clapham, Rob Hill, Grant Gill and Paul Nichols in the 20th position tonight. In the 21st position was Sam Chapman, Joshua Robertson and Chris Stark here for what was round number 3 of the Orbic Australia GT4 Challenge for the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. But Daniel Sarmate, long night in the booth. We're waiting for people to come up and have a chat. Long night in the booth. We started tonight with the Downforce legends in the Radicals, and we finished it off with the GT4s here around Road Atlanta. What a great night of racing. How good was it?
Yeah, it was great. Good racing from the DFL, the Downforce Legends. 2 races there, and of course 2 races here in GT4. And I'll tell you who didn't have a great night. Sam Chapman, who's currently in the booth. Sam, what happened?
What didn't happen? Yeah, no, I just couldn't quite get the hang of the car and track tonight. I thought it was going to be okay, but got out for practice and for whatever reason sort of fell apart. Frame rate seemed to be down, all that sort of thing, but yeah, really messy night. Killed a couple of people and yeah, ended up pulling up. So yeah, I don't know. This format hasn't suited me so far in the Wednesday. I was very excited about it, but it's been 2 pretty average races.
Yeah, so that was a rough one there. I believe we've got it here for you. So you just clipped.
Don't need to do any more replays, I don't think.
There we go.
You can cut someone else. Shit.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So unfortunately,
we need more replays, Sam. We need more replays, mate. More replays.
No. Yeah. So yeah, that was excellent. Yeah, no, just couldn't quite get the hang of the back end through there. It does. If you're not careful through that first corner, it does overheat the rears, and it can sort of catch you out through there. But yeah, just couldn't quite get the hang of the car tonight. So yeah, sorry to anyone I hurt.
Well, mate, unfortunately you had the night you did, but I tell you what, we had an absolute blast broadcasting everything here on the GSRC streams, mate, and the Radicals before we went into the GT4s was really, really good. But, mate, looking forward to next week. Hopefully you're looking forward to a little bit of a better result. How are you feeling going into next week?
Having a look, what's the track next week we've got going? Because I don't get along that well with this track either. So what have we got here? Willows.
No, it's Imola. Imola will be next week, round 4.
We're off to Imola for round 4, mate. So, bit of a European track for you. A little bit different to tonight. So,
yeah, I think it will suit it a bit better, but yeah, who knows? This one certainly didn't suit me.
That's all right, mate. We'll let you go. We'll jump across to the podium getters tonight and have a chat to them. We'll come back to you, Sam, really quickly. So just hang around if you don't mind. But Trent, mate. Actually, before we get to you, Trent, Nick Fodiatis, mate. The night that could have been. A few incidents tonight. Made yourself available up here in the broadcast booth. You had good pace inside the top 10. Tell us about your night, mate.
Oh, look, the Bailey Ladders car in race 1 was bouncing around like a kangaroo, so I had to change setups in between the races, and then, yeah, just mistake upon mistake, started sinking like a rock, and then got a drive-through. I most of my mistakes came down there at turn 10 and 10A, and yeah, people run into the back of me because I couldn't select the gear, all sorts of things. You know, it's got that down change lockout, so if you're too high in the revs, it will lock you out from the next gear down, and right when I needed it, I couldn't get it.
Well, mate, your night was pretty good. Like, we saw you in the Downforce Legends.
On the Radicals?
The Radicals, yeah. And
Yep.
you were there on the broadcast as well, and you did pretty well. And you're up there tonight and looking pretty good. So you've got to be happy with the night, even though it didn't go your way, mate.
Oh, look, from a personal perspective, I think I was just overdriving the car, or especially this car. And you can see I'm missing apexes, all sorts of things. So I just needed to step back a little bit, maybe, and take it a bit easy. Once I got a bit of a break and actually led some laps, or got towards the front where there was no cars, it was actually quite good. But then, yeah, I buggered up coming down the back into this back straight here, and had 2 cars run into the back of me, which put me over my incident limit. I had to do a drive through, and I shouldn't have got that deep into the corner anyway. But the rest of my team did really well, especially Michael Hammond, Trent Lavis, and Paul Wood getting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Yeah, they did a great job tonight, mate. But so did you, mate. You had a great job. So thanks for joining us up in
thank
the
you.
booth. And
Appreciate it.
you did a great job. So big congratulations. Big shout out, mate. You have a chance here on the stream, mate, although you didn't get a podium tonight. A little bit of a shout out for making yourself available to be able to have a chat with us. Shout out to all the sponsors and everything.
Yeah, well, look, Paul will repeat it as well, but we like to thank Bailey Ladders. They've been standing strong with us for the last seven years. So yeah, shout out to them, and yeah, thank you guys for broadcasting.
No worries at all, mate. You're more than welcome. We enjoyed it. It was a great night in the office, and we look forward to round number 4. We cannot wait. But we'll go across to your podium getters, and we'll start from P number 3. It'll be Trent Lavers. Trenty, mate, P number 3, how good's that?
Yeah, not too bad, mate, for a night just jumping in after Bathurst last week, just having a bit of a run. It was good fun racing there. Had a really good, really awesome race there with Jordo in the first heat. We had really cool strengths and weaknesses of the 2 cars. It was really cool to put on a bit of a show once we got built a bit of a gap. And he got me good in the last lap there. He did a little old go-kart move, just parked me coming on the back straight, and I had nowhere to go. So awesome move and clever racing. It was good fun.
Well, tell me a little bit about that first race, because I was literally on the edge of my seat, and we saw 2 different makes of cars trying to race differently, and you tried to park the car on the outside through that final change of direction, and you just didn't have the horsepower coming off, and I'm like, oh, if he gets it done, he's going to get it done. Did you back off a little bit? Did you like sort of err on the side of caution, because I really felt like you had something for him there?
The first attempt, I had to back off because the curb was going to spit me into him. I just got out of it. The second attempt, I was flat pickies. That's all she had. Jordo just did a great job around the outside to get the run up and over the crest. Unfortunately, the Astons just, it lacks getting the power to the ground, and you got to drive it almost like a NASCAR. You can't just flick in and throttle on and let the traction control do its job, because it's useless. So. But no, it was a good fun race, and felt like our hands are tied behind my back a little bit, but managed to squeeze a bit of pace out of the old Aston tonight and drag it up the front.
Well, Daniel, mate, I'll give you a chance to chime in, mate. Have a chance to have a chat to Trent. It seems like I've been talking the whole night and not giving you an edge in, so give you a bit of a chance to have a chat to Trent.
No worries, mate. The only thing I'm going to mention here is, and it might come up on the screen as we're talking, but what I was saying during that first race, between the close race between you and Jordan Malcolm, was that it just seemed as though the McLaren had a bit more pace down the straights, and if you weren't within 0.2, then you couldn't close up the gap enough on the back straight in order to make the move. But when you did, and I believe this is going to be one of those times, you'd try to take the outside of the first part of the chicane, because that'd give you the inside of the second. The problem was you had to take a tighter line. Jordan knew that, so Jordan was able to extend wide because of how far the curb goes out on turn 10. And so it's basically going to be this, right? So you go up on the inside, but then you've got to take a tighter line. Jordan keeps the outside. What I love, though, is the idea that you're so committed to this that you didn't care where the track was. Watch this. You just cut that corner like crazy. You're like, nah, I'm not giving up anything. And you did that lap after lap after lap. It was just fantastic to watch.
Yeah, mate, I just did. had no pace down that hill. I had to do something to try and bloody catch up to the bugger. But also, I was cutting the curb there because I only run a single monitor and I couldn't even see where he was, mate. So I was just giving him plenty of room just to make sure that, you know, I wasn't going to, you know, bomb both our races. So that was good, great fun racing Jordo, and he's always clean and fair. And that first race was a testament to that for sure.
No, it was very well done between the both of you. And again, the McLaren, man, it just had the legs and the straight. And if you didn't get good exits out of these corners, we could tell, basically like that right there, you're basically sniffing the gearbox.
Yeah, you can see there, that lights up the tyres coming out of that corner, and I lose a little bit of a jump on him, trying to put a bit of heat on him. But the only reason I could keep on his bumper down the back straight like this was just because Jordo had a bit of a slower run onto the straight than he had been. I think if he put his head down and did a proper run, it would have been he would have just left me for dead.
I also like the tactic that you had of flashing the lights. It's well known that if you do that, you gain 5Ks down the straight. So it was good.
I gave him a bit of a squeeze here too, but he still stuck it, so good on him.
That's what I'm saying. He goes wide on the outside. This is and again, props to you, Jordan. He goes wide on the outside. He knows he can keep the speed. And then again, watch this. Look at that. He just absolutely mow the grass on the inside. Oh, John Merritt does the same on the outside there too.
I already had an off track by then, so I needed to try and steer clear of the best I could. I didn't know because it still said we had overlap as it turned into that corner, so I just wanted to make sure plenty of space.
Well, congratulations, mate. What an absolutely good night at the office. Come home with some good, solid results tonight, and come home with P2. So great job. But we'll jump across to your winner, the man that you were trying to fight the whole time, Jordan Malcolm. Jordan, great job tonight, mate. Absolutely fast, clean set of heels at the front. It definitely was not your own way in the first race, but great job tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the first race was really tough. I don't think I put enough practice in, but given that I spent like the last 10 days at Bathurst, so a bit like Trent, just sort of hopped in with like sort of today's practice, and that's about it. So yeah, good race at the front, very nice and clean and close racing. Yeah, just a fantastic battle up the front, and then the second race was all about strategy, which is stuff that I love, fuel saving, getting everything going on in that. So yeah, good night at the office.
Yeah, well, you mentioned fuel saving, mate. Obviously, you had to navigate your way through some traffic. It was a reverse top 10 there in the second race, so fuel saving was obviously going to be an issue, but obviously you have to navigate your way through some of the incidents, and there were a couple early on. How do you navigate your way through that one as we're on board with you now? Just having a look through turn number 1. So, mate, it took a lot of patience to be able to get that job done, to be honest. You had the pace, but it took a lot of patience and a lot of race strategy to get it done.
Yeah, exactly. With mandatory pit stop in these reverse grid races, you sort of want to bide your time. The first part of the start, you just want to sort of find a gap and then fill it. And then after that, once it starts single filing out, you're wary you've got just a little bit slower cars ahead of you. So it's just, I was just sort of using Trent to like punch the holes for me, and I was just sort of like backing off into each corner, trying to maximise the fuel save and minimise that pit standing time, which was ultimately going to affect the end of the race.
Well, you did a great job tonight, mate. You definitely were very, very quick, and we saw coming off Phillip Island last week, we had 2 1-9 cars, 1 and 2. Unfortunately, Jake Jackson couldn't back that up tonight, and you were the one flying the flag at the front, so well done, mate.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure where Sammy is tonight, but the other 1-9 car in the field there, but yeah, Jakey had a fantastic run in that second race, 15th to 6th. There's nothing to be ashamed about, so still a good night for the team.
Yeah, he did, mate, and I was calling on the broadcast. I was expecting him to sort of make his way up a little bit further, but as you get further up the field, it's easy enough to catch, it's hard enough to pass, so he was doing a great job, but it was good to call and great on the broadcast. Hope you go back and have a look and have some fun. So, but mate, big shout out to everyone involved tonight and everyone that made it happen.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to MX Raps, everyone over at 19. Yeah, you guys for bringing on the broadcast, all the volunteers and all that make us coming back each time, and then everyone for tuning in.
No worries at all. Well, there is your place, getters, mate. Daniel, mate, what a good night in the office. Before we wrap up the broadcast, any final words before we go into next week, which will, well, tomorrow night will be the Porsche 911s, I believe, at Sandown. So before we wrap up the broadcast, any final words?
Nah, mate, it's look, it's been a great 2 races here from the Downforce Legends, and of course 2 races from the GT4s. I will just ask Jordan if he's still here. No, he's left. Never mind. I was going to ask if the undercut was on purpose, like if he just looked at everybody and went, yeah, this will be the best under bit, but that's all good. He's gone. My final words will just be again, great racing, and GT4s to Imola next week. So that's...
Can't wait for that one. Cannot wait for that one.
Just thinking off the top of my head, looking around, that should be a really good track for the GT4s, actually. Yeah. Just thinking about the track layout in my head and the speed of these cars, should be a good, especially into Aqua Minerale. I think there'll be some really nice moves into that section of the track.
Well, before we get to GT4s next Wednesday night, we still have a lot of other things coming across here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club streams, and we've got round 4 in Imola, as you can see there. So we got on Monday night Watkins Glen for the Super 2 V8s. We got the GT3s from Jerez on Wednesday. After that on the Monday night. On Tuesday night we got the up and comers, and then we go straight into the GT1s at Watkins Glen. Then we go across on Wednesday night for the Downforce Legends, and the GT4s will be back in the stream here. Listen to us again on Wednesday night. You'll have Zach bringing all the action from the Super 2 V8s and GT3s on the Monday night. Up and comers, not sure whether we'll have a broadcast for that. Of course, on Thursday night we will have the, I can't really see that, the V's and the Porsche Cups tomorrow night. So tune in for that if you want to see all your streams here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. But Daniel, mate, of course, if you want to get any merch for them from the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, go across to gsrcmerch.myshopify.com and jump in and grab your merch, because you're supporting us and allowing us to be able to bring you all the streams here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. But Daniel, mate, from me, you, everyone at the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, we thank you for a great night tonight, and we thank all the drivers and everyone, and we look forward to bringing you all the action next Wednesday for the GT4s and the Downforce Legends. Of course, we're going to have Zach in the booth, the man, the myth, legend, and everything before we get to that. But from everyone here at the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, we thank you for joining in the broadcast tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next week.